What up, Jippers? L-Plays back once again to talk some more Waking Titan ARG news. A lot has been going on over the last couple of days, so I just wanted to make a recap video touching on everything that has happened. But most of all, more than anything else, I wanted to say, for anyone who saw my last video, I was right. Knew it! Alright, let's do this. So, for anyone that has no idea what I'm talking about, why I'm so excited, and why I'm saying that I'm right, please go back and watch my last Waking Titan ARG video, where I talk about Ware being the big bad guys, the evil corporation behind everything that has happened in the ARG. And you should get an idea of what I mean. But that's another video. That's in the past. And now let's talk about what's happened recently in the last couple of days. So at the end of the London live drops that I live streamed here on the channel, we ended up in a situation where Ware reached out to thank us. They sent us the message that said, Ware wants to thank you for your substantial efforts in this investigation. Mr. Zeng will be apprehended and brought back home as soon as possible. Mr. Zeng, of course, was a employee with Ware. He'd gone missing. He had some important files that they wanted to retrieve. We were helping Ware to get them back. Then after that, things went a little bit quiet in terms of the ARG, the Ware and the Zeng story, but we did continue on with the Ware dev kit submission competition. So for anyone that doesn't know what this was, I'll give a very brief recap. Everybody taking part in the ARG was given an opportunity to come up with a game concept, create your own little fake game studio, put a game together. I made one called Atropos under the game studio called Procedural Fates. You can find that on Twitter. There's a video here on my channel about the game Atropos. There's all kinds of cool stuff that we did. But basically that will give you an idea of what was going on. Everybody in the fan base was coming up with these really cool game ideas. They had to use procedural generation and the Ware headset device in some sort of cool way. Loads of really fantastic submissions in there, and I think I'm going to do a separate video covering each of them just because they're so cool, and I really want to do like a proper showcase to all of them, and of course a shout out to the 2 winners that we had. But that was it. That was one thing. Voting closed. We got the winners. They got told they would be getting their prizes. Then it went a little bit quiet again, but since then we had an update on WakingTitan.com. So we had a new status on there. It said Code 5 Command Center V12 crashed, global network scan started, warning files locked by Monarch, and then it gave us some file extensions, an image and a couple of others, and one of those files was, here we go, here's my amazing French. Are you ready? Je capture d'écran. So one of these files was unlocked on Arnaud's site. If you remember, Arnaud was a Ware developer that was creating his own game a little bit before all of this in the ARG. We found a link to his website and stuff like that, and then he went quiet. Nobody could get hold of him. Now the image that we got unlocked as this status update unlocked, and we got the links to this new file, basically said the following. So this message on screen was basically an update to fans of Arnaud and his game that he was creating. They wanted to let us know that his health was obviously not doing very well the last time we heard. They wanted to give an update, and they thought it would be fair to tell us what's actually going on. So they said he's been very, very sick lately. His condition has gone downhill and he's lost consciousness. He's been transported to an urgent care site at Montreal's Hotel Dieu, where his vital signs are being closely monitored. So it's basically we hope you understand the game that he was bringing out, Tablets de Mimosine, or however you say that word, has been indefinitely postponed, and you could send your words of encouragement, this was the key bit, to the following email address, foundationarnaudlacours@gmail.com. So that was the first bit of information, the first little clue that we got after this Waking Titan status update. Now, when you emailed that address, you got the following back. Thank you for reaching out to the Arnaud Lacours Foundation. All words of encouragement will be forwarded to Mr. Lacours' family. Geraldine Nadeau, Arnaud Lacours Foundation, Hotel Dieu Hospital, blah, blah, blah. And there was a phone number at the end. Now, when you called that phone number, we got another little tidbit of information, and that was a voicemail.
You've reached Dr. Geraldine Nadeau, head of the Arnaud Lacours Foundation. Mr. Lacours' family thanks you for your support during these terrible events and encourages you to always be cautious and critical in the face of the unknown. As Arnaud himself would say, history comes from memory. You're invited to use the Foundation's email to share your words of encouragement with the family. Thank you for calling.
So that was the message that we received, and it turns out that in that message there was actually a little riddle, a little clue, where it talked about history coming from memory. That was found to link to Cleo, the muse of history, which was one of the daughters of Mnemosyne, or however you say it, basically the goddess of memory. Now when you emailed the word Cleo, which we obviously got from that clue, back to that email address once again, we unlocked a new little secret message, which I'll show on screen for you right now. And essentially what this message is saying is that this person was worried about him, they'd been monitoring his situation, he'd become unresponsive, his condition was nothing like they'd ever seen before, and they found out that he'd been working with Ware, but they didn't really know to what extent, so they'd hidden these like messages as a clue to someone that understands what's going on between Ware and the stuff that Arnaud was doing. So essentially, Arnaud's website was a front, a way of getting these messages out, a cry for help. It also became clear that Geraldine, who'd been looking after Arnaud, was also talking to Zeng at some stage. He gave her some information, but it didn't turn out to be too useful, but obviously he knew what was going on as well. And I think now we're all at the point where we realise Zeng understood what was going on with Ware. Where are the bad guys here, guys? We're going to get to that in a minute, but where are the bad guys? 100%. They are doing this to people. They are putting them in this state. They are carrying out this subconscious, unconscious research and like doing this to people's brains and messing them up. And Zeng knew about this and he was trying to warn others. But that wasn't the only thing. So from this message, one of the sentences actually gave us a link to a Dropbox folder that contained 2 images. So here's image 1 on screen right now, and I'm just going to flick up the other. I'll give you a little second to look at that, and I'll flick up the other one for you as well. Now, this one obviously was quite interesting. You look at that and it's like, what the heck? This is complete and utter gibberish. Very clearly some kind of secret code that we had to decipher. And that code was deciphered, and the way that it was deciphered was when you take every other letter from the text, it reveals the following message. Test subjects have been called in, and the device has been used on them in ways that I could never condone. 7 of them lost as we speak. 3 of them are dead. 8 are on the verge of being unrecoverable. Their intentions are not what we think. Action should be taken to shut them down. So this is one of those 2 images from Zeng's note. Essentially as a warning to the world. He is not happy with what they're doing. He's realized essentially that not only are they doing some crazy research, but they've killed people. They're evil, guys. They're the bad guys. They have murdered 3 people, and we've got 8 more on the verge of death or being completely unrecoverable because of this unconscious research that they're doing back at Ware Industries, the big evil corporation with these headsets. They're baddies. 100% bad guys. So there we go. Ware are 100% bad. As I suspected in my last video, they are the ones that are doing this kind of research to trap people's minds within this Ware headset, to keep them trapped in some sort of unconscious state, which we believe, and I believe, is in the simulation. So I think this is how it all begins, guys. Ware are doing the research to keep people locked into that machine, to harness their brains, to keep them trapped in there, and this is the origin of how we end up getting trapped in No Man's Sky. There was one other thing that's happened since then, and that was the Myriad site. So the Myriad status page updated. The only difference that could actually be seen on there as a result of the update was the below, and that said latest network diagnostic table, client 3597B's resources redirected, 3597B121 has been shut down, additional resources allocated to 3597B-4. Now what we've gathered from this is that it's implying that the Seoul research lab has actually been shut down, and other resources have now been, so they've basically shut down one of the sites and allocated extra resources to the Beijing research lab, and that's the one that's now getting like most of the funding and the resource. Presumably that's where the next phase of their research is going to continue. And to top all of that off, Ware, the official Ware Twitter site, the official Ware Twitter page also sent a tweet out saying that they've now hired 40 new employees to their Beijing research lab. So whatever nefarious plans they're putting into place next, you can be damn sure that it's going to be happening in Beijing. Now, I don't know if that's going to lead to some sort of live drop happening there, or if it's just going to be more lore clues and we'll unlock something in terms of what their research is doing. But yeah, that's kind of where we are at the moment. So a lot has happened in a very short space of time. A lot of this decoding and clue stuff from all of these images that we got has been pretty complicated, like way beyond like my mind. I would not have been able to figure any of this out. If you want to go into the detail to like each image and how each little bit of code was deciphered and all of that good stuff, Game Detectives, of course, best place to go to as always. Everything's on there clear as day for you to sort of understand. But the main thing I wanted to say was Ware are 100% definitely evil. We know that much for sure. They are without a doubt doing this horrible like experimentation on their employees, on people, their subjects. Arnaud was one of them. They've got 3 others that are now dead, 8 that are in like a bad position, and potentially loads more are going to be in that same sort of situation pretty soon, because it seems like they're now just switched over to one of their other research labs and are ramping up their operations tenfold. So I don't know what is going to happen next, but it definitely feels like things are really coming to a head. Whatever we're doing, whatever they're trying to figure out with this research, is getting really dangerous, and they're probably getting close to their ultimate goal, which in my mind is taking over the world and enslaving us all in the wear headsets. We'll find out if that's right or not pretty soon, I'm guessing, because it certainly looks like something big is going to happen just based on how much crazy stuff is happening so quickly at the moment. All of this wear stuff is way more ominous than anything we've seen in the ARG before, and it's all starting to fit together very, very well. Now, if you did miss my theory video before where I said the Waking Titan ARG story has been solved, that was essentially my theory from beginning to end that links the entire ARG right the way back to the Atlas Foundation, all the way up to the stuff that's going on with Wear now, and how I think that all fits together perfectly and tells the story of Wear's evil rise to power to enslave humanity and trap us all in the simulation, which will eventually become No Man's Sky. So if you did miss that, please go back and watch it, especially now that like at least bits of that are 100% true now, in the sense that Wear are definitely bad guys. Loads of people were telling me they didn't think Wear were bad guys, maybe they were just doing some research and stuff had gone wrong, but it's quite clear now that at the very least, if you really want to be optimistic, they've killed some people and they're not going to stop. So it sounds pretty nefarious to me. But yeah, that's everything that's been happening lately. That's what's gone on. Just wanted to keep you updated on that. Let me know what you think about all of this. It's definitely taken a very dark turn, and I'm more convinced than ever now that my last theory video was so right, and I cannot wait to see if it does turn to if it does turn out to be exactly the story of the ARG. I feel like that'd be so cool. But yeah, let me know what you think, guys. Hopefully something else is going to happen again soon, because I am having a lot of fun with this stuff at the moment. Hopefully you guys are too, and of course we know we're going to be getting the update to No Man's Sky soon, and the Xbox launch as well. So yeah, I think big things are coming for all of us. It's a good time to be a No Man's Sky fan. Hope you enjoyed that one, guys. Take care of yourselves, and peace.